I'm Rashanah Baldwin, an award-winning TV and radio journalist, Chicagoan and millennial. Someone You Need to Know explores the personal stories and journeys of trendsetters, tastemakers, societal change agents, and industry leaders. My goal is to introduce and connect you to everyday people doing impactful work across the country whose stories are often overlooked by the masses and often untold. Here's someone you need to know. Meet Chrishon Lampley. Chrishon Lampley, welcome. You're a wine enthusiast and an entrepreneur.
That I am, and then some.
How did you become this wine enthusiast? Was you making wine? Were you stomping on grapes? Were you like, I'm about to do it? How did it get started?
It was more of the marketing and sales side. Not only was I a co-owner of that gallery, but I also worked in distribution. So I worked in the sales marketing end, and I worked for one of the largest distributors in the country. And I had a territory that was the suburbs, west suburbs of Chicago, and it was one of the largest. I had over 250 accounts, and I serviced golf courses, restaurants, bars, and they would all tell me the same thing. They want to support small local boutique wineries, and same thing with spirits, small batch. And they got sick of the big bad folks like me coming in that they had to utilize, right? They had to buy Crown from me, they had to buy Kettle from me, but they also want to support small and local. So it was a mixture of that entrepreneurship of owning an art gallery and having a great extensive wine list that we won Chicago's best as one of the best wine lists. And I wrote that list, and that mixed with being in the distribution side, I said, you know what, I'm going to give the people what they want. I'm going to start a small batch wine. I'm going to do everything that people said I couldn't do, but that people wanted. So at first, yeah, people were like, yeah, right. You don't own a vineyard. How in the world are you going to do that? Yeah, I actually flew out to the vineyards. I actually partnered with the vineyards. It's my own custom crushes. And I told those vineyards, as the sales marketing person that I am, that I can outsell them in their own product. And to date, I've sold over 500,000 bottles of Love Cork Screw, large big box stores.
Oh, all over that. Yay. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of my story, but it's still a lot to be done. There's a lot going on in this industry, especially as an African American woman in this industry. So there's a lot more glass ceilings to be broken.
Now, when you say you partner with these wineries, so you don't make your wine physically yourself.
Correct.
Is it
Correct.
similar? Help me understand. Help the viewers understand. Is it similar
Sure.
when people brew who make coffee? You give them the recipe and you tell them how you want your wines curated, made. Is that how it works? That's what they kind of do.
Yes, a little more intricate than that, but yes. So I'm classified in the industry as a negociant. So that means not only do I start prior to the harvest process of picking the grapes that exactly I want harvest, but I work hand in hand with the people there. Yes, I work hand in hand with the vineyard to not only produce the exact varietal to my specifications, like you said, but it's also housed in tanks. So my juice is housed in tanks for me there. And I'm part of every single bit of the process. So yes, I'm not physically making the wine. I'm not making it in my bathtub, anything like that. But it is my formula. Yes, it is my juice. But with the legalities of wine, it's very serious for me to do my own custom crush. I don't want anybody to ever think it's oh yeah, it's like you go to a wedding and the wedding they have a label on it that's there as Mr. and Mrs. Not even close. Not even close. This is a federal situation here. I'm federally licensed to do this in the entire world. So this is no joke. It's really difficult to acquire a license that I have. It's definitely very expensive to acquire this license, and it takes a lot of work. A lot of work.
How long is that process? How long does it take to become? What did you say? Say the word.
Negociant. Yeah,
Negotiation. How
negociant.
long does it take? Yeah.
It took me 3 years, but I had some amazing resources at the time, amazing lawyer. And I mean, this was 10 years ago, but it took me 3 years, 10 years ago, to get the license and start this journey. So it was difficult. It was difficult. It's
Do
not an
you
easy
want
game.
to go through when you say you? So I'm thinking of you as a chemist in my head almost. Do you, you say
Mm,
you're part of
yes.
the process? Do you have to get licensed for that to like? Because you can almost, if you had to, you could go to one of the wineries and make it yourself. Do you have to get? Is that separate licenses or is it the same thing?
It's part of the same scenario that I sit in, because I am a wine expert, to that point. But now, do I have to become a sommelier? No, I do not. Negotiating is a different sector of the business. So my license to be federally licensed with my basic permit is that winemaker license.
Wow. So you have, is it five? It's five
I have
brands, right?
seven now.
Seven.
Seven now. Yes. So actually, since this poster behind me, since this retractable, I acquired two more that I produce, and both of them are doing amazing. So not only did I have the five varietals that I started with, but I have a rosé called We Go High, and I have a Vino Blanco called In Too Deep. So I added two to the brand, and that's it for now. Though people ask me, "Are you going to do this, that, this?" Hey, as a private label, most private labels do like two. So whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm still small, a very small batch. So we're gonna let these seven kill it in the game and take these nationally.
I love drinking rosé. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be more, have a cleaner palate, right? And I noticed one thing, I applaud you for making your wines vegan. I know it doesn't
Yes.
look like I'm vegan. I'm a curvaceous vegan. I'm trying to eliminate the body shaming. But God bless your ministry for creating vegan wine. I love it. The rosé, isn't that like champagne?
So no, so champagne is made in Champagne. That's always I always got to say that right there, so people don't get confused. Champagne is in Champagne. I can't afford to make champagne in Champagne. That would be like $500 a bottle if I was a small batch. So rosé is, think about it, in the process of winemaking. The easiest way I can put it is, rosé is one of the oldest, the oldest varietal in the entire world. And think of it as you leaving the skins in the during the fermentation process. You're leaving the skins in the juice, right? And you decide, because back then they don't have machines, right? They're pressing. So let's say I'm going to leave the skins in for 2 hours, or I'm going to leave the skins in for 23 hours. What's going to happen? The juice is going to get darker, and get a little, maybe a little more flavorful, right? The skins are adding to that. Mind you, you can use all different types of grapes. For my rosé, I decided to use a Chambourceau and a Saval grape, so a very young, fun, juicy grape. I did not want to go on the sweet side like some do. They add a little more sugar content in their rosés than I do. Some do add sparkling, which may be the reason why you think of champagne, right? So they make their rosé sparkling. So rosés can be everything from a light onion orange all the way to a deep dark black cherry. They can be sparkling. They can be semi-sweet, dry. I decided to do mine semi-dry. So rosés are all different, all types, all things. We always say in the industry, it's not red, it's not right, it's rosé. Like it's just a completely different juice.
Congratulations on the two new additions. How are you driving business? How are you still creating business amidst all of this chaosness, craziness? How are you still thriving? If that's the perfect question and the right question.
Sure, sure. This is definitely interesting business, right? People say when things are great, people drink. When things are bad, people drink, right? This is an industry that's not going anywhere. The wine and spirits industry as a whole is $130 billion, right? So it's about people's patterns and how things may change. So I will say during this new normal, things have changed, right? When the chaos first took place, I lost 85% of my accounts, between looting, between closing down. People, you got to take it a step further in your thought process of, not only did that business, let's say a big box store or grocery store, not only did that store get broken into and destroyed, think about all the vendors inside that location whose businesses are getting destroyed. So it was rough for a while. I decided to, the word that's overused, pivot. And I pivot into doing virtual tastings. My business went up over 300% online. So I made up for that difference, as things were trying to, again, get back to normal. So we're back to normal. Things are fine. I will say this, from what happened June 1st, a lot of eyes have opened. up, especially for African American women in my industry. In all industries, but speaking about wine specifically, there was a lot of allies that jumped in that didn't see us before, and now they see us now. So it's definitely taking full advantage of opportunities corporate wise, to get into locations that I'd never had the opportunity to have before.
That's amazing. And I'm glad that you were able to come out of this still afloat. And have you noticed that because of the civil unrest that I hate to say use black people are like trendy. It's like now we're trending, now we're hot,
Mm-hmm.
now let's support
Mm-hmm.
black owned business. Someone once said that to me about black women. Oh, now we're trendy all of a sudden. Now everybody wants to date us. Now you see all these rise in interracial couples. But now I feel like black business are now, it's it. Let's go get a black business.
This is what I said. I was on a women's conference a couple of days ago, and I made this comment that yes, for some we are trending. What does that mean? What does that look like? Some of the customers that bought from me these last 3 months probably will never buy again. It was because it was what they were supposed to do at the time, right? They sought me out to support a black woman-owned wine. They were posting it all over their social media. Now, hey, I might retain 20, 30% of them that actually just loved the wine. But if they have to make extra steps to do it, and whatever that looks like, maybe I'll never see them again, and that's okay. But this is the flip side of that. The flip side is what is becoming study is the corporations, the corporate assistants. They are now setting in place definite objectives and things that are actually being executed to help minority businesses and especially small businesses. That is what is becoming the big thing that's not going anywhere. These corporations are serious. They're coming. They're having these conversations, and they're actually working with us to make it and make the move now. So short term, sure, we were trending with possibly some consumers. Long term, corporations, they're not playing anymore.
When you say that they came in and helped, are they helping you to distribute? Are they helping to invest? What?
All. There, I've heard from different people in the industry that sit in my realm that all of that's happening. There's certain stores that I would not have gotten into or be getting into because their eyes weren't open. They didn't know I existed. So sure, I'll be in nationwide in March, and this has taken 8 years. 8 years now. I've shipped nationwide for 3, but I've not been in stores nationwide. So yes, absolutely, because of this, because of these tragedies that have happened and the eyes that have been open, I have now the opportunity to be nationwide in large big box stores. So
Name those stores. I know I
definitely,
see you in Whole Foods a lot. I see you in
yes.
Target. And recently, is it Walmart?
Yes,
And
yes. So
Target?
Walmart, thank you. Walmart was a big one. I've been wanting to get in Walmart forever. So that's huge. But the two big ones that I'm very excited to take on, obviously out of the Midwest and into a different regions, is Total Wines, which is humongous, humongous outside of the Midwest, going east, West Coast, and Florida and Texas and all the cool places, and Myers. Those two huge, huge, huge accounts for me will be taking place in March. So I'm very excited to extend the line nationwide.
Congratulations. I am proud of you as always.
Thank
I
you.
love when our
Thank you.
people
Thank
are
you.
winning. What sets your wines apart? What makes your wines different from any other? I mean,
Fun, just fun, whimsical, fun. My labels stick out like no
they do.
other. I always say, enjoy it, drink it, don't overthink it. I want the varietals, the names just to pop out at you, and you maybe chuckle or think of something that happened in the past, whether it be nostalgia, like just different things. I've heard so many stories. I've heard people drink my Concord and start crying because they remember that their grandmother used to grow Concord grapes, and they remember their grandma, right?
Oh,
So I've had so many things on people that start crying because somebody gave them some "We're moving on up," which is my Cabernet Sauvignon, because they just bought a new home. So there's so many things to the wine that makes it fun and different. The catchphrases for sure. And just they're fun. I mean, that's why Target fell in love with my varietals. They loved the labels and the colors. So I just
you
wanted to be
name
fun.
you name all of the varietals you have?
Sure, sure. Head Over Heels is my Riesling. We have Touch the Sky, which is my Niagara. Into Deep, which is my Vino Blanco. Good Times, Good Friends, my Pinot Grigio. We Go High, when they go low, we go high, my Rosé. My Concord is Hard Knock Life. And last but not least, my Cabernet Sauvignon is We're Moving On Up.
What was
7
the
different
inspiration?
varietals.
What's the inspiration behind these names, these phrases, these?
Fun. So, like for instance, Hard Knock Life was for any of you all that watch my TED talk. I always wanted to be Annie, and I had red hair when I was born. So it was all the inspiration was straight from Annie. Other people think of it as Jay Z. So everybody keeps, picks up their own vibe from whatever it is. Touch the Sky. Some people think I thought was thinking about Kanye. I wasn't. I seriously was thinking about the color of the sun. So Touch the Sky. So all types, Head Over Heels, romantic. I think Riesling is extremely romantic. Good Times, Good Friends. I think that's a great wine to bring to a friend's house. So it was very simple catchphrasing to have fun with, but I like how everybody interprets it the only way they want to, and I love that.
Do with the wine club, do you give instructions on how to pair? I need help with pairing. People like me who are still, trying to be grown and drink wine, but I've also pivoted because I'm health conscious. So I will
Sure,
drink more
sure.
of a rosé versus wine. And I know my palate changes a lot being vegan. I know how I react to certain things.
Sure.
But do you offer any pairing instructions? Because a person like me won't eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
People overthink it, totally overthink it. Just pairing is like an ingredient, and I explain that. But yes, I definitely send out via my wine club pairing suggestions. I have a cute little card that explains all of the pairings and what makes sense. And I do it on my social media as much as I can, just to give people, just again, don't think wine is so intimidating. It's really fun, and a lot of the information that we don't look for is on the back of the bottle. The flavor profile is there. It's real simple. I'll give one real simple one. If you're pairing wine with Dover sole or salmon, think about how you pair that. You pair that with how you cook in it. You with olive oil or maybe a little basil, maybe a little cilantro. So think of it buttery. What's earthy, buttery? Oh, Chardonnay. Like some things are very simple. Eggplant parmesan for my vegetarians and things. Eggplant parmesan. Okay, think about you sometimes put a little bit of tomato sauce. What do you use to cut tomatoes sometimes? You put just a little dash of sugar just to kill the acidity. So what's just little dash of sugar? Riesling. So it's like it's very simple how you think of it, because again, I think we overthink it, and sometimes you just need opposite. If you're eating something spicy, think sweet and spicy. My Concord, Niagara, that used to be amazingly sold at when we were in the old normal at jerk restaurants because spicy food is great with a sweet wine. So there's so many easy ways to think of it. People just stop overthinking it.
No, that is good. I never knew that. Like I told you, I would sit there eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and drink, the white
It's
wine.
the ingredients. It's just think of it as an ingredients. And actually, the perfect way to do peanut butter and jelly would be great with a sweeter wine. So the Concord would be great because Concord, that's used to make great jelly. So it makes perfect sense. It goes perfectly. So yeah, it's just people got to stop overthinking. But things like you don't do, never do like a steak with Moscato. What does that does? How does that make sense? What are you gonna put sugar on top of a steak and eat it? No. So like think about that. You would do something spicy, peppery. Oh, Cabernet. Oh, Merlot. Real
Rashad,
simple.
let me tell you, I have gotten kicked out of people's homes because I've watched people do crazy stuff with wine, mixing and making it into punch. And as I mentioned earlier, Chef Cliff Ron, he's a chef, and he taught me a lot of great stuff. And I'm just like,
Sure.
what mixing is? Can you ever do that? Like mix, like literally? Yeah, talk about that. Can you mix wine and then put hard alcohol in it, and then put like soda?
I'll say this. There are cocktails that people do make with wines that some great mixologists have come up with. I've tried a few different recipes just to play with it because I know some of the younger, I show my age, I would say the millennials and younger, like to do fun things with wines. Can you? Sure. Like I said, I don't overthink it. Do I? No. I think the best time to mix wines, if you will, is when they're a day too old. So when it's a day too old, I think it's a perfect time to make a sangria.
What does that mean? Like, how long, once you open a bottle of wine, how long does it last? Or how long is it, yeah, good for?
I suggest no more than 48 hours, and that's based on the room temperature that we keep in our homes. Got to understand when wine law, if you will, was created, it was based on the room temperature being a lot cooler than ours is now. Years ago, a lot cooler, right? So I look at it as 48 hours because I know how people keep their wine. I don't like when people keep it in the refrigerator a long time. Think about it just like your food. It's the same thing. It's going to take on the flavor of other things, or it's going to start just not tasting right. Once you open the bottle, the flavor changes. Just always think about that. As soon as that bottle, I don't care, unscrew, uncork, it's going to change once the air hits it. So 48 hours. And then at that point, I'm not saying throw it out. If you taste it and you still think it's good to you, that's fine. Of course, I'm not saying, but I think that's a great time to change it into a cocktail.
Can you, is it okay to mix dark and white?
Yes and no. Meaning, if you're making a punch, there are different recipes that call for different punches, if you will. But if I was to do it, I would not. I would keep like a sangria, either red wine sangria or white wine sangria. Yes, you can add spirits. Cognac is great to put in, or whiskey is great to put in, just a splash in the sangrias. But am I going to sit and mix a white bottle and a red bottle? I don't suggest it. It doesn't even sound right.
Why? Okay, tell us why, and then answer this other question. Again, I was like put out of a bar. Like, you need to go. I'm watching people put ice in their red wine. I'm like, what
Uh,
are you doing?
okay. So that okay, now again, I'm very open. I am not a wine snob. When I see people, I don't turn up my nose because they're not doing it right way. It's almost like they always say a hairdresser never has their hair done, a mechanic their car is always broke down. You know, it's one of those things where I work in that industry. Do you? But I will say this: I am completely against ice in wine. You are not only diluting it. Ice in a lot of people's thought processes is not that healthy. Ice is not that clean. It's just so in addition to that, you're killing the flavor profile. You're diluting the wine. It's really simple. I tell people this all the time. When you go to the grocery store, if you are a wine drinker, or if you have friends that you entertain, when you go to the grocery store, go to the frozen fruit aisle. Pick up a cheap bag of fruit.
Mm.
I don't care if you don't spend $1, $2. I don't care. I don't know if they have it at the dollar store, some bag fruit. Fine, go there. Grab some of the dark berries. When your wine warms up a little bit and you want to cool it off, go in the freezer. Put some of those strawberries or boysenberries or blueberries, whatever it is. Stick it in there. It's going to cool off your wine. Not
Good.
only is it going to cool off your wine, you're going to have some delicious fruit to eat when you're done drinking it. It won't dilute it, cools it off, and it keeps it. But once you add ice cubes, a lot of weird things start happening to wine. I don't suggest it.
That's some good tips. Good tips. Where else can we find your wine? Are you in any restaurants here in Chicago or anywhere else?
Well, again, with this new normal, I know things are kind of shaky with certain restaurants, but I'm definitely in Ja Grill. Love Ja Grill, love Hyde Park, any Hyde Park, I just absolutely love. So right now, as far as restaurants, I'm in a lot of restaurants in Ohio actually right now. I can't name them all, but it's easy to check out on my website on lovecorkscrew.com. Look at the store locator, and I have the restaurants. If you enter your zip code, you'll see all the locations. But yeah, I'm quite a few menus there, especially with my Cabernet Sauvignon.
I saw that you also have other products. Are you still doing these delicious candles that I see on your step and repeat right there?
Yes. So actually, those I just signed a deal with Target. So next year, those will be on Target.com. So I'm very excited about that. That was a long time coming, a great partnership that happened, and they were like, "These candles are killer. We need them. We need them." I said, "Okay, you got it." So yes, not only do I sell them on my own website, but next year they're going to be on Target.com nationwide.
And how many is it? The five that's current, or is it seven?
It's going to be five. So it's going to be the five wine scented candles. The fifth one is a bonus one. It's called the Perfect Man, which is my number one seller. I can't keep that. When I had them in a few Target stores, I couldn't keep it on the shelf. So I'm sure Target.com is going to just kill the game in those. So other ones are wine scented. So it's just a great addition to the company that made perfect sense. Why wouldn't I do wine scented candles?
Are those vegan as well? Are those a soy blend?
They are 100% soy. 100% soy.
I'm just waiting for you to be in the vegan magazines. I mean, 'cause you have vegan.
I know. Let me hit Target.com. I got you. It's come. Actually, we were in a vegan magazine. I cannot. Don't give me the line to name the publication, but I remember when I got called about it. It was specifically because they were vegan. They talked about my Niagara, Catch the Sky, and they picked that as one of the top vegan wines in the country. So that was pretty cool.
For those who may be turning their nose up at me about vegan wine and what the heck is that? So how I was explained to in terms of how alcohol is created is that it goes through this process of sometimes it goes through the bones of animals to like dry off. But can you explain what makes it vegan? Is that did you ever hear that? What I
No, I've not heard that, but but hey, there's all types of processes. Honestly, I'm not going to know everything, but it's the tannin process, where usually you filter it through eggshells. So if something is overly tannin, the best way to do it to go through the eggshell process, which I do not do. None of my wines are tannined enough, if you will, to have to do that process, as well as within my preservatives. Sometimes there'll be animal products within preservatives. There's no animal product in my preservatives. So it's usually eggshells. Eggshells is usually the basis of something being not vegan, if you will. And that might happen in the majority. And again, I don't know it all. You know how many varietals there are in this world, please. But it would make sense, something that would overly tan it would make sense for the deeper dark red wines to possibly need that process more than most. But yeah, eggshells.
eggshell. Wow. Wow. Where can we find you? Where can we get in contact with you? What's next for you?
So easy. All social media channels, Love Cork Screw. You can't miss me between Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. Twitter, Love Cork Screw. So many big things coming. Next year is going to be such a big expansion of the company. Between making decisions on hiring new staff to take over some of these amazing opportunities in states, and just taking to a next level. I always said, and I mentor a lot of business to say, hey, you make us, you help, your business has to succeed for you to be able to sell it. It's in the story. So when people ask me my end game, it's to sell it. So I can retire. I could be on a rocking chair in front of a vineyard sipping on some Chardonnay or some Chianti. So my success and my growth is to show others that look like me that you can do it. You can make it in an industry that doesn't look like you. Yes, you're going to get told no all the time. I got told no this morning. There's no's non-stop. But you've got to keep going. As an African American woman, yep, you got to work twice as hard just to be considered normal. Yes, yes, that's just the skin we're in. So I need you to keep doing that. So I always say again that I work hard to show others and to sell it.
If you could give 2 to 3 tips, what advice or tips would you give to business owners, current business owners now in the middle of what's happening? Advice to stay afloat or advice to
I
pivot?
got two real simple ones. Number one is take advantage of every single opportunity you have. I get entrepreneurs that'll email me and take the time email me asking me where to find grants. That time that you took to ask me, you could have Googled. So look it up, do it yourself. There's so many amazing, you can look up Black women funding. There's so many things you can do now to take the time to actually research, clean up. Clean up your business too. That's number two. Clean up. Take everything that you were putting aside because you were so busy going outside all these years. There's a lot of house cleaning that needed to be done. I needed to do tons of house cleaning that I did, whether it be updating my website, whether it be talking to my accountant more, whatever that is, budgeting, looking at next year and really, really diving into things, focusing more on my social media, talking more to interns, whatever that looks like. Those old emails of those people that told you no, go back to those emails. Bet you might have a chance of them telling you yes now. So clean house and take full advantage of every opportunity you have right now because it may not come again.
Thank you, Chrishon Lampley.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wine enthusiast. I say that word wrong,
Negociant.
wine enthusiast, negotiant, and amazing entrepreneur. And we can find you at lovecorkscrew.com.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Lovecorkscrew.com. Thank you.